YouTube as well at my link. It still says upcoming. What's going on, everybody? I'm trying to make sure I did this correctly. There I am. I did it. Look at me. All right, let me put my headphones in because we're going to watch some stuff. So I did test generating a link today. I did it successfully. Look at me. And here we are. So let me line everything up and let's get going. Today is, what's the date? It's 4/23/26, and our best future still requires the truth of our past. So we're still going to sit here and trudge along and learn these new technologies and continue to try to bring it to you. Got me a new candle going back there. All right, let's get over here. Finish the last thing I have to do on this phone that has to do with what we're doing here at the moment, and that is working successfully. Brilliant. Look at that. Figuring it out, y'all. Figuring it out. Okay, so we're going to move quite efficiently, I hope, here. How is everybody? Do we have anybody in the chat? Did sending and generating a link bring anyone? Now, I know Sarah, who is diligently always here. Guys, keep Sarah in your prayers, right? So all the fires you're hearing about in South Georgia, that's Sarah. That's like her county. Next one over. Seeing some of the video today on X, it's fucking alarming, y'all. She's been updating, us all day in Discord, our little, chat group there with video of the ash falling, and the air relief flying overhead. So we are very mindful of what's going on right now. There's also the Florida Everglades are ablaze here in April. I don't know, guys. Have you seen the posts about Iran, about them blowing up the weather control stations, and all of a sudden there's flooding and snow? You seen that? That's odd, isn't it? This drought that's going on right now and these fires, I don't know. Is it a coincidence that there's a lot of data centers that are trying to go in and people are giving them pushback? I don't know. It's just like with these rocks I'm going to show. I don't know. Allegedly. Wink. All right. So let's take a look at some stuff that comes from the Coosa River, okay? And we're going to do that by first showing you where we're going to be looking at today on Google Earth. I was diligent in pulling up all my material pre-hand, but I forgot Google Earth. Probably because I am learning that minimal tabs, especially when live, is best. We're going to wait for Google Earth to load, and we're going to take ourselves to Wetumpka, Alabama, right? And then I'm going to share this with you guys. Brilliant. So as we zoom in here on the Coosa River, give you a larger frame of reference. North America, we have Alabama. Here directly in central Alabama, we have Wetumpka, Alabama. We have then the Coosa River. If you have seen any of my previous episodes, I believe it was 3 specifically where we talked about the crater and the accompanying mound I found over at the side of Mobilla, then you will be familiar with this area. If you have seen the last episode before last, we did Hatchet Creek last in 6. So in 5, we did Corn Creek, which is here. Well, today we're going to take a look at video filmed yesterday here. Right there. Actually, I can even show you the route. Jacob loves swimming, so we walk up here, climb these rocks, hop over, beautiful little waterfall, you know, little micro environment coming in between there, and then across, and you'll see I left out a 5 minute chunk. Today's is shorter. We got about 25-minute video versus 48. I left out a good 5 minute chunk where I just walk around here, just sort of quietly giving you a show. But at least here from the satellite map, you can already see the rapids, all of which you'll see. And I do point out in the video that, again, you'll be able to see this crater, this rim, you know, from right here. So indeed, it is in the shadow of this crater, right? So let's launch over to a little video that I've put on X earlier and many months ago, looking at a few things that are gathered from this island, and then we will launch directly into a 25-minute look at the day yesterday and show you some of the actual finding process and where it is. Let's share this.
The sky is blue, the sky is green, inviting you to intervene. The fire's like gasoline, and you are like the smoke.
I'm not big enough to worry about the music, but also I've already learned from putting this song in a YouTube video that Dr. Dog gives you permission on YouTube. So Dr. Dog, everybody, phenomenal. Everything gathered from that island.
Show me where you go. God help me know. See I could use a job, but I ain't for hire. You ask and you receive.
What is that? Petrified wood? Definitely crystalline. That's behind me now. So, for those that aren't fans of Dr. Dog, and there we have the really the largest piece pulled again from the island. That was in about 2.5, 3 feet of water. Last I don't know, right before it got cold. All right, let's stop sharing this. Let's check back. We gave ourselves a little warm-up time, see if anybody decided to join. There we go. We got a few folks. What's going on, guys? How's your Thursday? Gals, afternoon. This piece, man, this piece right here is just wild. Okay, this piece is behind me as well. Right here, this big. Hang on. Let me get back to you guys. I know. I got to eat the mic. I know. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. I got to eat the mic. All right, now I got to close X. There we go. Now we got to bring, bam. There we go. Hi. Now you can see. Okay. This beaut, right? some front light on, shouldn't I? So, ass or crotch is the question, as we know. Fight Club reference. Fight Club reference. Okay, there's a little front light. If we're going to show some stuff off, why not? A little mild front lighting. And if you hear children screaming in the background, pay no mind. I'm assured everything is fine. It's just my soon-to-be 14-year-old Charlotte and her make-believe friends. That's in case she ever chooses to watch one of these. No, her real friends, probably her cousin, KK, if I had to guess. Okay. Let's roll with some video. Again, you just see these pieces. This is reminiscent. Did I bring it in? I don't know if I brought it in. This is reminiscent of a piece that I found yesterday. You'll see. I didn't bring it in, and I don't want to get up and leave you guys again. I just did that. Where you can see the quartz. I'm going to have to re-aim the light. You're not coming at me, man. Watch this. Let's do this. That's way too bright. There we go, though. That's enough. That's enough. You can start to see the quartz in here. Right? Dug out. See how shiny this was. Just the things you come across on this island, guys. All right, now I'm going to start that video. Enough. Squirrel, look, cool artifact all around you. That's why I put them here. Can you tell? I like them. They make me feel comfortable. There's something constantly speaking and exposing itself to me from them, you know, much is the theme of this show. What is it that we are missing from these cultures, and how might we expose it to ourselves and ourselves to it? So now I wish to share YouTube. Okay, already pulled up. Jason, you weren't prepared for the fact that you were prepared, and that says probably more about me than anything. Consider again the Coosa River is what we're going to do here now, guys. Thanks for those that are tuning in. If you're there, if you're not, why aren't you? What are you doing? You okay? You feeling all right? Everything going your way? Life chaotic? Wildfires? Craziness abroad? Everything good? Okay, just checking. With Mr. Dickerson over at the Wetumpka Impact Crater Commission Museum, we saw all about the availability of these particular stones due to the impact crater, such as the quartz being shaped. The Coosa River. Check the videos, Corn Creek, Coosa River. I'm on my way over there now to hang out with Jacob and do some exploring, and that's what got me here, looking and figuring we should elucidate what all it is we've put together here recently. So I've documented for quite a while the I know this is a
sacredness
redo for
of that
this next
spot
2
there on
minutes
the
for some of the
Coosa.
class, but
Not
it's
only
still
for its,
worth repeating.
obviously the crossing and the DeSoto story would have happened, right there in that area. But more importantly, this entire island, these islands, where Corn Creek meets, where all of this is gathered. They made islands of this material that they had worked. Big crater looming up over them, right? And now this crescent mound, which was found over at the site of Mabilla, with the artifact represented. Check my X page. that crescent lingered. Why that shape? Now, if you've seen my last video, you see that the impact crater, which produced all of this, is directly represented by what I'd been calling that crescent mound. Look at the video of the model. You know, it's like a model of this mound. It's trippy.
I realize the mound and that's all review for you guys, but the point here at the end was worth me tagging on the front of yesterday's exploration.
So what more does that tell us about the natives? Their capabilities. I mean, the mound is correctly oriented as though it were a model of the star wound. Yeah. This was a special place. DeSoto came crashing in. Something was lost, not just an inordinate amount of native lives, not just their culture, but what they held sacred and why. Their abilities. I mean, yes, it's an earthwork, but it's also a map, a three-dimensional model rendering. Goodness, they have the creek flowing next to it, just as the Coosa flows next to, up against, nearly in the star wound. They have the creek, when it backflows, it flows into the center of that mound. Leaves little swamp puddles. I've documented. Check my Mobilla presentation. Just as over here, there are little lakes, little ponds in the center of that half caldera. Not caldera, that'd be volcanic, half crater. We lost a lot when DeSoto came through, but if you're willing to spend the time with it, it becomes self-evident, not only in the material, but in what we've labeled spiritual, which simply is a term for that which is beyond the three-dimensional, right? That which engages senses, which we have been taught heretofore were, only a certain many. Anything else is woo. I mean, goodness gracious, look at all this quartz. Imagine just the piezoelectricity, right, of this place, where everywhere you walk is this stuff. Anybody here for any length of time would have noticed the same that I've noticed in, 7 years? I mean, I've lived here most of my life, but 7 years on it and in it hard. It was a sacred landscape to Tuscaloosa, to all those who came before here in this space, this very place. Video upcoming soon.
Next, actually.
Trying to showcase that aspect of this place as well. Yeah. Long live Tuscaloosa and all those who came before him, all those that carried on the tradition and the knowing of what this place was and is. And thank all of you for your interest. I'm going to go out and start working on a new video about all of this.
Okay, let's
see. That's what's the most frustrating. It's what's still being stolen from us by us not knowing our heritage as human beings. I don't know how well this is showing in the light, but in here you can see the moonstone-like striations in this, cleaned off, right? Jacob's chasing waves now.
Happy boy. Well, he loves
Apparently he likes the Coosa too.
it. Fortunately for me, because obviously I do as well. So you see here,
Quite a dramatic landscape.
so as you saw walking in, you can see the effects. I mean, that tall ridge that you saw, and you'll see again multiple times here, is the impact crater, right? That would be the northernmost northwestern side of it, right? Which this, if you saw the beginning with the map, runs right next to it, right? Now, a dam has been built, so this island is constantly flooded. So keep that in mind as you're seeing the coloration and the patination upon these stones, which are erupting out of this landscape thanks to this ancient impact. Watchers, much of what I'm trying to do here is just give you the experience of when I first went to this place and you're just walking along. What is it you're seeing? What is it you pick up as you just arrive and explore this landscape? This was yesterday, FYI. So there's the crater.
Crater.
Yep.
So this just gives you.
Now here I am. You're going to see several examples over the next few minutes of what happens when I just gather a few things within a few feet of each other, right? That was the most efficient way I thought I could do to give you a glimpse of, again, it harkens back to how I first started noticing these things. I'd be in these places and you want to build a fire ring, so you grab your rocks, right? And if you're paying attention, you start noticing, you hear the sounds, right? You see what you'll see here. And largely, by and large, what you're seeing is forms of quartz. Is it quartzite? I don't know. What's the difference? Tammy, where are you? You said you knew the difference. But it's shock quartz. It's all kinds of quartz, guys. I mean, I've got it all right, like around me. Everything from huge chunks of smoky gray to clear, crystal clear as glass, to yesterday. And here in this video, I found the fist-sized chunk of rose quartz, and then all this other golden, huge stuff. So let's take a look at when Jacob and I are hanging out, and I just grab a few things. This is what you come up with. Again, not looking for anything in particular, I've got the video. You've already seen some of the finer objects, right? Here comes Jacob, unwilling to abide by the chair in his way, but we'll see what happens. Let's keep looking at what we found yesterday. What do you say, dude? An example, guys, of the quartz, right? Here at the Coosa River. It's a very nice piece. Not quartz, very oddly shaped piece. Heavy quartz stone sheet. This big piece. This one caught my eye simply because you see how rough it is, you know, just all nasty looking, but then look at that. Right? So what does that seem to want to do? It wants to go home, get cleaned up, and see why it was made into a display piece is what it wants to do. Lots of these. You see this little notch here on the side of this. So that is very common feature. I'll just sort of re-show that for emphasis and for when you're watching other videos. Oh no. All right, where's the notch? There's the notch. One more frame, man. Okay, so that's a theme one comes across. Now, whether that's in process of making this flatter sheet you see here, which again, you watched the video at the beginning. If you haven't, it's on the X page, and I show a few at the end of this. You know, these sheets of this material that are then produced, or shapes, whichever word. Seems more likely it had a use. It's that flattened edge that'll always catch your eye. You know, you'll see a lot of these. I'm just picking up to show you the flattened edge, the notching. Keep watching. I gotta put Jacob on the side of the chair now. Now here, the sounds. And of course, the ubiquitous heron. Solitary fisherman. Also spiritual representer of wisdom, knowledge, peace, harmony. One thinks of the ibis. Now here, we're just going to take a little audio tour. A lot of, it's not the same one. A lot of triangles on this particular island. You see, there's a dam. This thing gets flooded weekly or so. So everything's covered in a nasty gray patina.
Ow!
Forgot about that. That's a real broke toe incident.
That's what happens when you forgot you've got a broke toe. Son of a... Summer's here.
It hurt.
My feet agree. Summer's here.
Again, you see the gray patina. Look how green it's gotten, though. Looks like South America.
That's better.
All right, carrying on with the research.
Okay, I accidentally paused it and I don't know where. This is Jacob and I at the Coosa River. Pulling quartz, petrified wood, mica, and...
So shout out to Jeff up north. You guys see there on the screen. Jeff, if you're not familiar, well, Jeff, I'm trying to navigate into here. Gosh, these screens, man. How do you do this? You've been doing this a year. Any tips? So, all right, there we go. There's the screen I want. So we've got Jeff up north. Everybody that's not already familiar with Jeff up north, go get familiar. Give him a subscribe. Check out his videos. Give him a like. If you're into copper, Michigan copper culture, if you're really into any exploration at all, especially sort of boots on the ground, natural homeborn interest, I could not recommend a better person to go check out than Jeff. Thanks for stopping by, dude. Just looking at some stuff I did yesterday. I'm doing great, man. Thank you for asking. It's very good to see you. I hope all's well on your end, man. Funky weather coming up. Are you getting more snow? I thought I saw yesterday. See, yeah, that's... I know. I've been told that this is a move I will eventually need to make. But I'm more interested right now in a laptop so I can kind of get mobile with this whole thing. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But I have been told that the second screen would help my efforts. But we'll get there, man. This is episode 7, so we'll get there. So speaking of episode, let me keep moving along. Thank you, Jeff, again for stopping by, dude. And I do hope all's well. Let's move on with looking at the Coosa River.
everything else that adds to the charge of a place. Okay, I cannot see the screen very well out here, so I hope everything's cleaned off and showing. Jacob and I have been mucking about for maybe 10 minutes, and I've showcased to you the quartz, the size of the quartz. Now, I played a little game with Jacob the past 10 minutes. We walked right out there. It's about a foot of water. I said, let's see how many triangle pieces of quartz we can find. Don't get my new shoes. Thank you, sir. Jacob.
New Tivas just showed up yesterday. I lost one of my older pair last week. Out doing this.
It's a really great piece. You need to get it wet so you can see how precisely clear it is. But the shape we call triangle. One. This one, a little rougher, a little cleaner on that side. This one. This one.
I brought that little guy home to clean off.
Very smooth.
Again,
The bottom would
so
definitely stand up of its own accord.
Of these, just
on a flat
smaller.
surface like so. The square was cool. I had to grab it's more of a rectangle, isn't it? It's a cube. It's a cube quartz. Now this one I thought was cool because look how rounded it is, right? And smooth.
I brought this guy home too.
To where you get it down to where the quartz is what's showing off here at the top. You see that? I hope it's showing well. I'm not in a glare. So there you go. There's just an idea of some shapes that the quartz here on this island in the Coosa comes in. Anyhow, I could spend all day showing you this stuff. I'm probably going to spend all afternoon doing it, but you don't want to see all that. See you guys in a bit.
So it's worth pointing out that was honestly maybe 10 minutes, not even probably. Once Jacob, because we tried swimming, and he went all the way out. You can follow it. So from the sightline perspective, all you see is water, but it's not even half a foot deep, right? And you can follow it all the way out, but then at a certain point it just dives off. So he made it all the way out to that point, trusting, but then he got out there and kind of went swimming, and the current started to pull him, and he was like, no, what the what the fuck is this? I'm coming back. And he came back and just contemplated it. Actually, it was pretty cool, just like I do, just like any human being standing on that point would do, just looking out at that open expanse of water rushing by with that canopy, that forest of green behind you. It's a magical spot. It's a powerful spot in all ways, but evidenced here by just a few minutes of, okay, let's just see how many triangles we can find, right? You could just as easily go, let me see how many cubes I could find, right? It's that I'll stop there. It's a unique place.
From triangle quartz, I don't know. I like cube quartz. Cube quartz. Quartz cube. This is honestly my favorite, I think.
I like those. I like
Okay,
these.
so I've been piddling around. We had
It's
another
art.
snake alert. So Jacob's gonna leave
It's
for a
art.
second. Here, I just want to show a few of the more interesting pieces I pulled from, as you see, less than a foot of water. I can't really see.
Okay, so here I went just maybe 15 yards further up. We're about to the northern tip of this little island next to the crater in the Coosa.
This rose of quartz.
It's a big piece. I brought it home too.
That's a solid hunk. These notches.
It's a repeating shape.
These rocks here.
Again, the notching, which you've been familiar with.
Oddly shaped piece of quartz.
Dirty piece, but quartz.
Here. This is a really nice piece if you can see through the staining and the moss and the mud and the guck. Now look at this.
Brought this guy.
Look how well shaped that is.
Solid little trapezoidal piece.
Okay, quartz. Look how well shaped this is. Again, heavily stained. Look at this honking piece.
There's a lot of pieces.
I see a lot
in
this shape here.
Don't know what it's supposed to represent, or if it had a function.
I cannot see my screen at all, guys. So I hope
it was bright. It was really bright out there yesterday.
That's pretty.
And you start getting down to the smaller.
The notch. And there you can see the crystals. You can see them in there.
Just imagining this place before it was flooded every week. What this island would have looked like instead of a mass of gray bilge-covered stones.
I hope that's showing up. See the coloration in there?
Little green, little blue.
Notching. Stick
so many
of it.
sticks. Dozens and dozens.
Jake
and
trying to
dozens
carry
of
his leash
sticks.
over there. And then,
These
of course,
are
even the little
beautiful.
pieces.
Look at this guy.
This nice piece of smoky quartz.
The next.
Looks like it may have a little
the
red
quartz
in
is
there.
cool. The quartz, but there's so much.
Look at this stone.
Look at the greens in
You see
here.
the green? You hear Jacob chasing his leash.
like a little clam
About to have to
almost.
head out of here with him. Whatever this is.
I brought this guy home too. That's funky. It's a funky piece of stone. It's,
So, we've seen just a couple of piles now of quartz crystals and a few other beautiful pieces. This rose quartz is just impressive. That's going to go in the backpack.
And it did. Only about 4 or 5. You see Jacob's little cypress shade there?
Coosa River,
It's the only shade. on
Corn
the
Creek,
island.
Quartz Island. Powerful place.
All right, and then I believe I ended this little video here with a look at some of the more recent gatherings. We showed that video in the beginning that showed some of my older gatherings that are cleaned now. And there is the crater rim there in the distance. And here are some that have yet to be cleaned that are gathered more recently. That's, again, a solid, that's quartz. Look at all the sticks. There's just so many every time you go. So these are in need of a little cleaning, obviously. But I just wanted you to see some more of what's pulled from that very spot. Triangle with a notch. Much bigger version of see what I mean? Look, found this one yesterday. There's a bigger version. The sound. I love that sound. When you're walking on that island, particularly if you have shoes on, it sounds like walking on glass. It really does. You see, now that's a triangular shaped plate like this one, made of the same material that what was on right before this. Same material. There's that piece again with the crystal on one side and the back. You know, it's like reminiscent of petrified wood. The way the little cells, you know, in the quartz were formed, almost like cells in a plant material. But I don't know, just what it looks like to me. Certainly quartz, crystalline. This little tablet here. So there you go. There's a look at some more recent gatherings, along with what I piled up yesterday, and we can stop sharing and we can bring ourselves back. Let's go. The sun's getting brighter. What's going on, everybody? Jeff, thanks again, dude, for stopping by. But again, now that I'm bigger, to show you, you know, these type pieces are. Okay, there's a lot of that. This still would need a lot of cleaning, you know, but I don't really want to do anything terribly harsh to it. This was just some soaking in a little mildly acidic, you know, like mostly water with some bleach and a little bit of dish soap to kill everything that was on it. But that gives you a sense, you know, a beginning flavor for. This is another one here. This one is really cool. See how it's flattened on the bottom, you know, and it's sitting on Loki, my dog before Luna, Loki. It's sitting on Loki's ashes, you know, but you can see the shaping in that. Look how smooth it is there on the back. There, okay. So that gives you, I would say, a decent intro, and here comes the blinding light now, into this island, all right, in the Coosa River. And as I stated in the exposition to that little video we just watched, I think by starting to appreciate this stuff, we start to appreciate. Hang on, I've got a lot of noise back here. Okay, I am back. What I hope, I know I've done here is begin to give everybody a look at this place, a look at it in the way that I found it, right? Now, add on and begin to consider that this is roughly where Hernando de Soto would have first encountered the envoy from Chief Tuscaloosa to have been including Tuscaloosa's son, and you can sort of anchor yourself in the De Soto chronicling narrative, and you can then see and read and imagine then the population that would have been here in this area. What's up, Sarah? Are you braving the fires? Have you evacuated yet? Sarah just popped into the chat. We spoke earlier. Before anybody popped in here for me to talk to, I was like, Sarah's not going to be here because she's running for her life at this very moment. So yeah, give us an update if you get a chance. I haven't had a chance to check the Discord at all. But when you then anchor yourself back to the DeSoto story, because that is the only interpretation or written accounts we have of the native population that was here before he came through, of course, with the disease and all of the activities. She's watering perfect under a watering ban and taking care of the food. Good girl. um, and you can then anchor yourself there and ground yourself in the population that would have been around this area, let alone the fact that, yes, I have been all over this place for many years, and I've put out much work, not here on this series yet, documenting various earthworks and the mounds here around this area, many covered up in construction and many not, simply covered up in this beautiful forest you see that we have here in Alabama. I mean, it's much like South America, the southern part of the Gulf. Well, here we are, right on the northern tip, and we share many traits. Just temperate, loses leaves in the winter. Other than that, so very, 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 very similar. But this place has its own power, right? We've expounded lots on the crater and the fact that minerals not from this earth were found there, on the fact of all the quartz and the ways it would have altered and affected the landscape, the way the natives would have then noticed this, and of course represented in the mound, which was, I posit, the burial mound for Tuscaloosa's son after the Battle of Mobila. So by going in and bringing you guys in to these places and letting you walk these beaches with me and see that every, playing the triangle game, right? Playing the what precisely is this game, right? With every single stone you pick up on that island. I can't, that deserved a I gave myself a hard time about that yesterday, saying a lot. But it cannot be overstated. I have many, many videos I have put out, and I'm sure there will be more as I venture further, to these different islands on the Coosa. But I hope I've evidenced to you that there was something particularly precious to the native population in that area. It's most evident to me, and that is really all I'm sort of trying to show here in these early days, is the power, the uniqueness, and the geographic uniqueness, the lay of the land, all of that. I'm going to try to, in my best attempts, which will sure fall short, translate here through the screen as we begin to look at the landscape, right? The set in which the story of Hernando de Soto and Chief Tuscaloosa played out, right? But much more to my interests, and I hope yours, is what happened all the years before that, right? It's in there, in learning what happened in there, that I believe not just the natives, all of us, all of humanity will gain something which has been lost when we begin to get a glimpse, a better understanding of precisely how these people walked, lived, engaged. What was important to them? How did they do it? We don't have records. But by spending time in it and with it, as I have done, I believe I know there is still much to find. And as I've evidenced with this simple correlation between this crater and this mound, just that opens up an entire new world, just exploring this landscape which they would have lived for thousands and thousands of years. Imagine, folks, you with your brain somewhere for thousands of years with just rock and wood to play with. What would you have come up with? What would you have done? What did they come up with? What did they do that we don't yet know about? As evidenced by everything I've shown you here from the Coosa River and everything I've shown you over the course of these so far 7 episodes of Finding Things Within and Without, and as I will strive to continue to show you in a myriad of ways. Well, the sun's getting so bright you can't see me. I'm almost to an hour, and we've watched today's video. The chat is empty. Sarah is watering her crops. Jeff up north has said his hellos. So, and I have done my pondering and my proposing, and now I've done my alliteration. So if there's anyone in the chat, I'm on X too, I see you over there, it pops up over here, that has anything in these next 4 or 5 minutes, which they would like to see me pull up, have me discuss, then you have a few minutes to put that forth. If not, I will close out episode 7. It is the second episode of week 3 here at Finding Things Within and Without, and I am going to attempt to uphold 3 episodes a week, although it's going to be tight this weekend if I keep up the schedules. Dave, shout out Dave. Dave's Multiverse. Didn't see him today, but he's a busy dude. He did ask me this morning about doing a potential live cast about all of the scientists of varying fields which have gone missing or dead because, well, the latest one this morning. Excuse me, guys. We saw the news. I saved a few blurbs here too. Was in Huntsville, Alabama. Jacob, Sarah said, "Where's her nephew?" I just had to, I had to escort him outside the barrier. He was eating trash, and if I don't let him chew on something back here, he ends up chewing on artifacts, and so. But I've got a little barricade up. So he's gone off somewhere with his myriad of chew toys and other folks that can entertain him. Actually, if I peek, Sarah, I bet he's sleeping right on the other side of this thing. Because I haven't heard anybody say anything to him. That means he's sleeping right over there. So it's nap time for your nephew. Thanks for checking in. Hey, awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for sticking around, man. Yeah, I think so. I think an hour, to an hour and a half to just hang out with folks and start painting pictures, Jeff had me on his show twice, helped me first learn how to start doing a lot of this, right? But also it showed me, right? The mass of stuff there is, the mass. What's up, Tyrone, Rebirth of the World? It's up. What's going on, dude? When are you going to come down? It's sorry, that made me lose my train of thought. But the point is, I do hope this proves to be functional and beneficial way to yeah, I know where I was. I was on Jeff's shows, and I trying to format it all into two-hour segments and get it out really shows me, how much there is to show. Because even in those experiences, like with Jeff and several others, Universe Unveiled, Dave, I was only showing tip of the iceberg, right? But I was also missing the key elements, right? Which I think lie in the story and in some of the spiritual elements and in the way in which, by going out into the natural world, seeking God and seeking to correct things within myself and that were going on in my life, how I then connected and began to find all of these things or be led to is, probably is a much more accurate way to say it. I really, if we're talking honest, if you're just sitting around with Jason, he's not going to take any credit for any of this shit. It was led to it. That's probably why it's too much to try to tell in any sort of simple format. So thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Tyrone, for coming to this format that I think might work. Played out over time. If I can, hold myself to it and keep being willing to let it evolve and see where we go. I've been speaking with, I've got people here locally that have things they can add about these experiences and share their own, and I'm really hoping that this can sort of just blossom into something. But my overriding goal I'm trying to hold myself to, as Tyrone says, start just getting the knowledge out there, And for me, that means getting the experience and the knowledge of what these places are, and what you find there when you erase narrative, when you center yourself objectively, and you do what a lot of people don't seem to be able to do. You forget everything you know about the thing in front of you, everything you think you know, everything you've been told, everything. Try that. And then sit with that in a place. And as questions start coming to you about what you're finding, maybe follow them. And don't let the thing you've been told about this thing come interfere. Just do it as an experiment. You see, I turned that into a way of being. That's what I strive to do. But where most particularly it is now a way of being is when I'm out here, when I'm in nature. Get out there. See what you see and come share it with me, because as Tyrone puts forward, it's about sharing. I'm glad, man. So you're gonna do Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama, and look forward, man. There's so much here. The people I keep having conversations with about what is in Alabama, because that's the state I'm in, that people aren't going to believe, if you just told them. It's going to take showing them. There is so much still hidden here. The most highly forested state in the state still, thankfully, right? As you see from the videos we watched today, it's blanketed, with that green goodness. And that's my 1 hour mark. And I'm very, very thankful that I had a few friends stop by here, and I could keep talking to you guys. We could keep going on and on about what's been lost. I could tell you about the YouTube shorts I put up today, and one of them, they're just clips from this, Riverside does little automated clips, and one of them was titled Stolen Land, right? Because I was talking about what had been stolen from us. And in fact, in the video, I say, I'm not just talking land, I'm talking all of these things that I'm trying to evidence in the video, what has been stolen from the human race about our own potential here on this planet, right? But the responses that I got, knee jerk, nobody comments on my videos. The knee jerk react, land's not stolen, nothing was stolen. What do you mean biological warfare? The natives did biological warfare. It's like, man, people are so touchy about these stories we've been told, It's just interesting. All the positive stuff I put out, and it was a positive message, but that one triggers people when you start saying, yeah, dude, this land, they've been lying to us, telling us they were savages. In the 1800s, there was direct mandates from Washington to hide anything whatsoever that showed advanced, culture or writing or anything amongst the native populations, because that would basically invalidate the land claims, that were originally put forth. So the land was stolen, and it was protected. That's what Tyrone. I asked him. I said, "Did you say that with a straight face?" I mean, that's sort of like if that narrative and all that hadn't happened, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here talking about all the things that we don't know. Guys. And that's not a shot at anyone, anywhere. No one here watching this was alive in the 1800s when Washington and the Smithsonian and Lewis and Clark, I mean, everything, all of that had a mandate on it to, anything you find, you uncover that shows advanced or shows Europe got here before, we did, anything, bury it. Because it very, very much legally starts to complicate things. So yeah, people don't really inform themselves, and they just, that's why I call them knee jerk, and I don't get offended by them. I try to laugh at them, right? Because that's what it is. It's this knee jerk. Like, what are you protecting, man? I mean, like, what's gonna happen? We can acknowledge it was stolen. I mean, I don't live in some fantasy world where I think that means all the lands is going to go back to the people, right? Like, what is it? What is that makes people, that has the narrative so ingrained, that people can't just sit with something, an idea, a thing, an island full of every shape of quartz and stone that you want to imagine, and they're gonna try to tell you, oh, it's nothing. It's nothing, But the thing is, it's not nothing. You read these DeSoto chronicles, their bafflement by the culture and the behavior of the people they ran into. It's not fantasy. It's just not. I guess feelings. Tyron says they're protecting their feeling. Yeah, my past life says otherwise too. I'm with you there. I'm with you there. But protecting their feelings. I think some of that, for sure, because it's painful. I guess to admit that you've. I don't know what it is, and I don't want to. I don't really want to sit here and suppose. I just want to try to present people. You can't have a. That's a good one, Sarah. You can't have a knee-jerk reaction without jerks. This is true. This is very true. But all I try to keep it positive, right? Because I know what's here, and I'm just trying to find the most efficient way to show it to you guys. I'm not worried if you're watching. I'm not worried what you're thinking, and I'm certainly not looking for your validation, right? Except my friends, I like yours. Thank you. I love you. You mean everything. But that's not what's happening with the show, right? Well, I know what I've found, and what I'm doing is trying to be responsible and learn the best way, in the most complete way, and hopefully somewhat entertaining and enlightening way, to showcase it to everybody on my own, from me to you, is as it should be. Secrets are shit, you know. That's just power, and that's just lies, and knowledge is all of our heritage, and that is the mission of this. That is why I say, and I try to end, and we'll end here shortly, with our best future requires the truth of our past. Because once we see what we can do, what each individual is capable of here in this world, instantaneously our future brightens, our future is better. That's my belief. I hope it's your belief. I know it is. I know that's why you take the time out of your day to join me. And out of respect for that, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to go see Charlotte, who probably still won't want to hang out with me. She's up there hanging out with friends on this technology that we have. And I'm grateful for it because it has brought me all of you. Yeah, exactly, man. You just watch, you just watch. That's all you do. You just, I got to watch for snakes every day out in the creek. That trains you pretty well how to do it in the real world too. You know what I mean? Because that's what all of this is about. Is people don't observe. People even look at the scenery and they see words. I'm looking at a rock. They just. You can't just see it. Like, no, that's a thing. Look at like don't put a label on it. Right now go over to it. Now that thing that you haven't labeled, ask yourself how did it get here? Are there more things that look like it around? Are they bigger? Are they smaller? Do they have strange markings on them? Can you look around the environment and can you find forces that exist that could make those markings on this thing that you see? And if you do that, you just might get to a place where you call that something not rock. You might use a word like rubble. And that's my little teaser, not teaser, advert for my series, which you can find all 9 episodes on a playlist entitled Antediluvian Alabama, all about some indisputable anomalies, guys, that I have yet to receive an explanation for. So I would love for you to go watch and provide me with one, because I did what I just described to you guys, and I haven't found a natural force, and nobody's looked at it so far has. So go check out Antediluvian Alabama, and I'll see you one more day this week back here on Finding Things Within and Without. Remember, guys, our best future requires the truth of our past. Thanks again for stopping by. Episode 7